I have never seen a superstar do less to market and promote his team or promote the brand. It was so bad, doggy, that I almost had a heart. I'm telling you right now, I had to go to the doctor and get checked up because I had palpitations. When I saw this man on a podium at a press conference post-game actually talking, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it because he says nothing. This is a man that did New Balance commercials, and the kids spoke, Molly. The kids. He didn't say a word. I've seen them go up to him and need him to sign autographs and fraternize with the public when he was sitting behind on the bench collecting about $40+ million, and he wouldn't do it. So he has spent years doing absolutely, positively nothing. That's why his uncle, Dennis Robinson, is so popular. It's a name that all of us know. Why? Because that man never fails to go and ask for the money now. He wants to ask for the money. They want a masseuse. They want a helicopter. They want, you talk about me in private jet. Don't even get me started, this brother. I mean, it is endless. What he has made sure he gets time and time again, despite the inordinate amount of games that he has played. Now, last year he fooled us all because he played like 21 of the last 25 games, was available in the postseason, plus did interviews. Like I said, gave me palpitations. I couldn't believe it, okay? We had missed like 34 games before that. This man is a walking absentee on the ballot. This brother will check the absentee ballot as much as he possibly can throughout his career. So when I saw this report and it said, money for doing nothing, I said, that's what made me pause. Not because of Steve Ballmer, not because of the Clippers, because of him. Because if there's a way for this brother to get money guaranteed without working, that's what that brother has done. That's what I'm saying. Now, I know he's injured. He's not taking time off. He's injured. But my God, I haven't seen too many people as gifted in taking time off as Kawhi Leonard.
Look, this has the potential to be the biggest thing that Adam Silver's had to deal with probably since the bubble. When you think about all the moving parts that you have going on here, you already have a court of public opinion based on after watching Pablo Torre's investigation, who believes that there was something that happened untoward either with Ballmer or the Clippers or Kawhi or Uncle Dennis. You have a governor's meeting coming up where you have owners who are going to be asking questions about, is the guy the 1% of the 1%, and Steve Ballmer, did he do something to circumvent the rules? They're going to have a lot of those questions. And then on the other hand, on the other side of this, you got Ballmer himself, who has endless resources, who is going to demand that there be actual substantial, not circumstantial evidence in order to do something about this, because he's going to fight, as we saw with that interview with Ramona. And so it's all centered around, let's not forget, Intuit Arena, a place that's hosting an all-star game. So there's so many moving parts and so many things that you have to get right and needles that you have to thread if you're Adam Silver to finally get to the bottom of this. Because this is not the Joe Smith situation. There's not a smoking gun right now. There's not anything in writing that says, yes, we are going to circumvent the cap. This is about Adam Silver having to figure out the best way to handle this. And it's kind of a reminder that all across these leagues, NBA, MLB, NFL, that when they try to be judge, jury, and executioner, they often come up short in trying to actually get to the bottom of these things. Adam Silver has a tough task in front of him to figure out a very complicated situation.
Well, the story of Kawhi Leonard has always been wrapped in mystery. The quiet superstar, the silent assassin, a man whose game spoke volumes while his mouth rarely moved. But now, the NBA world is shaken, not by a buzzer beater, not by another championship run, but by scandal. A scandal so big, it threatens to rewrite the very legacy of Kawhi Leonard and change how we view one of the most enigmatic players of all time. This is the story of how Kawhi Leonard went from two-time Finals MVP to being banned from the NBA. It started quietly, as all great scandals do. A whisper on a podcast, a name dropped in a conversation. Pablo Torre's podcast Finds Out became ground zero for the controversy when former employees of an environmental startup called Aspiration spilled the truth, or at least their version of it. They claimed that Kawhi Leonard's massive $28 million endorsement deal with the company wasn't really about branding or commercials or even marketability. Instead, it was a loophole, a way for Clippers owner Steve Ballmer to funnel extra money to his superstar outside the NBA's strict salary cap. 4 years, $28 million, and not a single billboard, not a single campaign that resonated, just silence, except for the money moving behind the scenes. To casual fans, it sounded outrageous. To insiders, it sounded familiar. The NBA has always danced with scandal when it comes to circumventing salary rules. But this wasn't just another wink and nod arrangement. This was systematic, calculated, and, if true, illegal under league rules. The NBA didn't wait long. Commissioner Adam Silver and league officials turned to the nuclear option. The law firm Wachtell, Lipton, Rosen, and Katz. Yes, the same firm that dismantled Donald Sterling's ownership in 2014. The same firm that cracked open Robert Sarver's empire in 2022. Now, they had their sights on Steve Ballmer and Kawhi Leonard. When news broke of the investigation, the Clippers went into damage control. A statement denied everything. Neither Mr. Ballmer nor the Clippers circumvented the salary cap or engaged in misconduct related to Aspiration, they declared. But behind closed doors, the pressure was building. The numbers didn't add up. Employees from Aspiration claimed the deal was never about marketing. It was about Kawhi. And the damning piece? Ballmer had poured $50 million of his own money into Aspiration. The dots were connecting themselves. For years, Kawhi Leonard was seen as the ultimate professional. No drama, no public outbursts. A player who kept his head down and let his game do the talking. But now, his silence was his greatest weakness. Reporters swarmed. Cameras followed him everywhere. What did Kawhi know about the deal? Was he complicit, or was he just another pawn in Ballmer's billionaire chess game? And yet Leonard said nothing. No denials, no explanations. Just that familiar stone-faced look that once made him iconic, now making him suspicious. Fans were divided. Some said he was guilty by association. Others said Kawhi was just doing what every star does, taking endorsements wherever they came. But the NBA didn't see it that way. Steve Ballmer, the energetic, eccentric billionaire who turned Clippers games into pep rallies, went on the defensive. Speaking to ESPN's Ramona Shelburne, he insisted he was duped. "I had no board seat. I had no control. Heck, it was a fraudulent company," Ballmer said. It's possible nobody had any control, but few believed him. How does one of the richest men in the world lose control of a company he invested $50 million in? Ballmer tried to separate himself from Kawhi, painting himself as a victim, but the league wasn't buying it, and slowly the narrative shifted. This wasn't about Ballmer anymore. This was about Kawhi. When the investigation concluded, the report was devastating. Wachtell, Lipton, Rosen, and Katz uncovered evidence that the Aspiration deal was indeed a salary cap dodge. The money, they argued, was effectively a backdoor bonus to Leonard for joining and staying with the Clippers. Adam Silver had a choice to make: ignore it and risk the credibility of the league, enforce it and risk the reputation of one of the NBA's biggest stars. The decision was swift. Kawhi Leonard was banned from the NBA. The news hit like an earthquake. Players, coaches, and fans couldn't believe it. Kawhi, the quiet one, the one who never said anything, the one who built a career on stoicism and silence. But the evidence was too strong. For the first time since Donald Sterling, the NBA had expelled a figure not just from ownership, but from the court itself. The ban sent shockwaves across the league. The Clippers were left gutted, their superstar gone, their championship dreams shattered. Steve Ballmer faced his own sanctions, but the greater loss was credibility. The Clippers, once the rising powerhouse of Los Angeles, had become a cautionary tale. The players were stunned. James Harden, visibly shaken, told reporters, "I don't even know what to say. Kawhi's like my brother. This doesn't feel real." Fans flooded social media. Some defended Kawhi, claiming the league had scapegoated him to make an example. Others compared him to Pete Rose or Lance Armstrong, greats who fell not because of lack of talent, but because of scandal. And for Kawhi himself, silence. He never held a press conference, never gave a tell-all interview, just disappeared. The man who never spoke ended his NBA career without a word. For years, Kawhi Leonard's legacy seemed untouchable. A two-time Finals MVP, the man who stopped LeBron James in 2014, the man who broke an entire dynasty in 2019 with the Toronto Raptors. His game was poetry in motion, mid-range mastery, relentless defense, the ultimate two-way force. But now, his name is tied to scandal, to backdoor deals, to banishment. NBA historians will debate forever. Should Kawhi's accomplishments still stand? Should the 2019 Raptors title carry an asterisk? Did the Clippers cheat their way into contention? The tragedy of Kawhi's fall isn't just that he's banned, it's that he'll never be remembered the same way again. The scandal exposed deeper truths about the NBA. The salary cap, once thought to be ironclad, had cracks all along. How many other endorsement deals were really backdoor payments? How many other stars benefited from similar arrangements? Just never caught. Kawhi Leonard became the symbol, not just of his own downfall, but of a league forced to confront its own shadowy practices. In the years ahead, the NBA will tighten its rules. Endorsements will be scrutinized. Owners will be monitored more closely. The ghost of the Kawhi scandal will haunt every deal that comes after. In the end, the irony is undeniable. Kawhi Leonard's greatest weapon, his silence, became his downfall. When the scandal broke, he said nothing. When the accusations mounted, he said nothing. And when the NBA dropped the hammer, he said nothing. Maybe he was innocent. Maybe he was complicit. Maybe he was just unlucky. We'll never know, because Kawhi Leonard never spoke. And so, the man once known as the Claw, who snatched championships with cold precision, was himself snatched from the game he mastered without ever making a sound. This is the story of Kawhi Leonard, the scandal, the silence, and the shocking NBA ban that rocked the basketball world. For years, he was the quiet king of the NBA. Now, he's the quiet exile. And just like that, Kawhi Leonard's NBA career ended not with a cheer, not with a championship parade, but with a scandal that changed the league forever.
These accusations are serious, and if somebody is being accused of circumventing the salary cap, that puts them at an unfair advantage, which is not something that could ever be tolerated. So the NBA should investigate this matter. When it says that Kawhi Leonard was getting $28 million, quote unquote, for a no-show job, end quote. That sounds just like Kawhi Leonard. No-show job. No-show job. Don't have to show up. Don't have to do a damn thing. That sounds exactly like Kawhi Leonard. Exactly like him. Now, there's a lot of people out there that's going to lose their mind with what I'm saying, because they're going to accuse me of being very, very cruel, because it's Kawhi Leonard that we're talking about here. This is a two-time champion, all right? All of this other stuff. This is what they're going to say. He's a two-time champion. He's a two-time NBA Finals MVP. All of that is true. When I say greatness, I mean greatness. Kawhi Leonard is great. And I'm quite sure he's a very, very nice human being. That is not my issue with him. My issue with Kawhi Leonard is that this brother has missed more than 40% of his games since he arrived at the Clippers more than 5 years ago. He's missed more than 40% of his regular season games. He's missed more than 30% of the playoff games. And he does absolutely, positively nothing to promote your franchise. I'm talking about me, Stephen A. Smith, standing up and giving this man a standing ovation when I saw him doing an interview on a podium in a playoffs post game, because it was a freaking miracle. This brother does nothing to promote a franchise. I have said on many, many occasions, and I will say it again, he is the worst superstar I have ever seen in sports history. I have never seen a sports superstar. Notice I'm saying superstar because he is a superstar. I'm not questioning his greatness. I'm not even questioning his character. This is not about that. This is not about his play, and it's not about his character. Maybe it is a little bit about his character, but you can interpret it the way that you want to. I'm not attacking. I'm not saying he's a bad human being. I'm not saying he's somebody that doesn't work hard. I'm not questioning the legitimacy of his injuries along the way. But my God, ladies and gentlemen, if you're averaging over 40.3 million a year in your career with the Clippers, could you do interviews? Could you do promotional appearances? Could you represent the franchise? Could you show up? Could you sign autographs for kids before or after the games? Could you do that? None of that. But the brother made sure to get the helicopter rides. He made sure to get the private jets. He made sure to get a masseuse, I mean, everything. Everything. You understand? This man, he doesn't miss anything. If there's a perk to be had, he's going to get it.